Okay, we're doing Unit 5B, and first section is we're going to be on the discriminant. Okay? Discriminant is part of quadratic formula, but we're going to start with understanding how to find the discriminant before we do the whole quadratic formula. Again, keep in mind this is going to be a step to find where the parabola crosses the x-axis. So here are the steps to find the discriminant. And you always want to do the discriminant first before you complete the quadratic formula. I have found over the years, Mr. McGrath have found over the years, that if you try to do the whole quadratic formula at once, people generally get it wrong. So we found a way to split it up that works really well, and it also tells you what types of solutions you're going to be looking for. So the first step is to make sure to set your equation equal to 0. So just like before, this one we have to set equal to 0. Second step, you know how to do, find A, B, and C. Now we're going to solve for the discriminant. Here is the formula. It is, and notice my parentheses, they're there for a reason. B squared minus 4AC. Okay, and then we're going to look at this chart to identify the type of roots. The number and type. And remember, roots is another word for zeros, where it crosses the x-axis, all of that. We generally use the word roots when we're talking about quadratic formula. So I'm going to set up a table that's three columns and 4 rows. So it's going to look something like this. Discriminant. Number of roots. Sorry, we're going to say number of real roots because we're talking about real roots. And then we're going to look at the graph just to make sure we have in our mind the picture of what's going on. Okay? If the discriminant is negative, you're going to have no real roots. The nice thing at this level, this is one of the nice things about doing the discriminant first. If you have no real roots, you can stop at this point. Okay? You do not have to continue the quadratic formula. Remember, if I'm saying there's no real roots, it's because it's hovering above or below the x-axis. It never crosses the x-axis. Okay? So that's an indication that it never crosses the x-axis, so it has no real roots. It does have roots, they're just not real. Okay, if our discriminant is 0, then we are going to have one real root. And this is what we talked about in the first section, where if I were to see this, it would look like this. It would be sitting on my x-axis. Okay? And then the last type is if we have a positive discriminant. So if we have a positive discriminant, then we have two real roots. And you have to continue all the way to the end. And this is a nice check. If you're expecting two real roots and you get none, then you need to go back and see what's going on. Somewhere you made a mistake. Okay? And this would look like this. Again, remember, roots are where we cross the x-axis. So in this case, it crosses twice. So we have two real roots. All right, I'm only going to do actually two examples with you for this one. This isn't going to be a very long video because this is substitution and you know how to do this. So let's do our first example. Number 1 is 3x squared plus 2x minus 3. First step, is it equal to 0? Yep, it's already equal to 0, so we can go check, done. 2, a is 3, b is 2, c is negative 3. And so now we're going to use the formula, b squared minus 4ac. So this is the third step. So I'm going to leave my parentheses. B in this case is 2 minus parenthesis 4 times a in this case is 3 and c is negative 3. And then I'm going to put it into my calculator that it looks just like that. And my answer in this case for my discriminant is 40. So now we go to our fourth step. Since our discriminant is positive, we can say we have 2 real roots. And that's all you're going to do for homework tonight. We're not going to get into the full quadratic formula. We're just doing this, okay? Because we want to ease you into the quadratic formula. Let's do one more, because you can see how this works. 6x squared minus 10x equals negative 10. Okay, first step, it's not equal to 0. So let's do that. So we need to add 10 to both sides. So now we have 6x squared minus 10x plus 10 equals 0. Good. Move on to your ABC. A is 6, B is negative 10, and C is positive 10. Third step, you're going to use the equation b squared minus 4ac, or the expression b squared minus 4ac, and you're going to plug in the values. I'm going to leave what's originally part, and I'm going to put in my values. B is negative 10, A is 6, and C is regular 10. If you don't put parentheses in this problem in your calculator, you're going to get the discriminant wrong, and it's going to mess you up. So the answer here should be negative 140. So your final step is to say, well, this is a negative root. Therefore, negative discriminant. Therefore, there are no real roots. And in a problem where we would usually continue, we could stop there. The answer is no real roots. At this point in Algebra 1, the answer is no real roots. Now the Algebra 2 students, they know better, and they know they have to continue and get the imaginary roots, but you're not there. So that would be your final step, even in the quadratic. No real roots.